My name is Athena Sinclair. I'm 34 years old, and 3 months ago I flew 18 hours across the ocean for my sister's wedding. When I arrived at the venue, my own parents blocked the entrance and told me to leave. Only family is allowed, my mother said. You weren't invited. I stood there in the soft blue dress I'd carefully chosen 2 months earlier, holding a gift I'd wrapped the night before on a hotel bed, and watched my mother's face show nothing. No guilt, no hesitation, just a door closing in my face. I had signed every single vendor contract for that wedding. My name, my credit card. I had paid the deposit months ago without thinking twice. I was the older sister who always showed up, the one with the stable job in London, the good credit score, the reliable bank account. But that day, standing on the gravel path outside a beautiful barn venue in Tennessee, I realized something that shattered me more than any argument ever could. I wasn't family to them anymore. I had spent years believing that love was proven through sacrifice. Every time my parents needed help, I answered. Every time my younger sister Brooke needed something, I found a way. I co-signed loans. I wired money. I stayed quiet when it hurt. I told myself that was what family did, until the day they looked me in the eye and erased me completely. 3 days later, my phone rang. It was my mother, not to apologize, not to explain. She called about a bill, $38,000, and the calm words I spoke next changed everything between us forever. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to last November, to a rainy Tuesday evening in London, when my sister called to say she was engaged. Brooke's face filled my phone screen, glowing with excitement. Behind her, I could see our mother arranging something on the kitchen counter. I'm engaged, Brooke squealed, flashing a ring. Garrett Caldwell had proposed the night before at a vineyard. His family owned the largest auto dealership chain in 3 counties. Real money, real status. I felt genuine happiness for her. I told her how proud I was. Then my mother leaned into the frame. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. When I said I'd start looking at flights, she quickly answered, "Don't go spending a fortune on a plane ticket. It's just a small wedding." Something in her tone made my stomach tighten, but I pushed the feeling away. 2 weeks later, my mother called again. This time it was about the practical side of the wedding. The venue, the caterer, the florist, the photographer, all of them needed a credit card on file. My parents' credit wasn't strong after a refinance. Brooke had just graduated and had no credit history of her own. "We just need someone with good credit to sign," my mother said. "You'd be doing your sister a huge favor. The total is about $41,000, but you'd only put down a small deposit. We'll handle the rest, I promise." I had heard that promise before. When I was 22, I co-signed a car loan for my father and spent 3 years cleaning up the damage on my credit. When I was 28, I sent money for a plumbing emergency that turned out to be Brooke's tuition. Still, this was my sister's wedding. I was the older sister, the responsible one, so I said yes. I signed every contract that week. Over the next 3 months, the wedding took shape without me. Brooke created a group chat called Caldwell Wedding Crew. I wasn't added. I found out about the bridesmaid dresses when she accidentally forwarded me a message meant for the others. I called twice to ask about the dress code, the seating, whether she wanted me to prepare a toast. The first time she said she'd get back to me. The second time she let it go to voicemail and texted later. Super busy with planning. Talk soon. I never received a formal invitation. I told myself that was normal. Sisters don't need invitations. They're automatically included. Then, 2 weeks before the wedding, Brooke posted a photo on Instagram. Rehearsal dinner. Her in a white sundress surrounded by bridesmaids, our mother beaming beside her. The caption read, "My whole family, my whole world." I stared at that photo for 11 minutes. I counted. I wasn't in it. I hadn't been invited. Still, I packed my bags. I used 5 of my 20 vacation days. The flights cost $1,400. The hotel cost nearly $700. The gift, a premium knife set Brooke had once mentioned wanting, cost another $700. Before I even touched Tennessee soil, I had spent almost $3,000 of my own money. On the first leg of the flight, somewhere over the Atlantic, I practiced a short toast I'd written. I wanted to tell the story of how little Brooke used to make me play wedding with her stuffed animals when she was 5. How she always assigned me the role of the priest, never the bride. I thought people would laugh. I thought I was still part of the story. When I landed, I texted my mother. Her reply came 40 minutes later. "Okay, busy. See you tomorrow." 5 words, no warmth, no excitement. The next day, I arrived at the venue in the dress I had chosen with care. My parents stood at the entrance. My mother's voice was calm and final. "You're not invited. Only family is allowed." I later learned she had been telling the Caldwell family for months that she and my father only had one daughter, Brooke. The pretty one, the one who still lived nearby, the one who fit the picture they wanted to show. I turned around. I walked back to my rental car. I drove to the hotel in silence. Something inside me didn't break that day. It went quiet. And in that quiet, something stronger began to form. 3 days later, my phone rang again. It was my mother. Her voice was tight, almost frantic. The final invoice had come. $38,000. Because every contract was in my name, the vendors were calling me. My mother wanted me to pay it. She said it was the only way to protect the family's reputation with the Caldwells. She said Brooke would be devastated if the payments bounced. She said, "After everything I owed them this." I listened in complete silence. When she finished, I spoke in a voice so calm it surprised even me. "I already paid the deposit," I said. "That was my gift. The rest of the contracts were signed under the clear understanding that you would handle the remaining payments. I will not be covering $38,000 for a wedding. I was barred from attending. If the vendors contact me again, I will provide them with your contact information and a full record of our conversations. You told the world I wasn't family. You don't get to claim me now that the bill has arrived." Then I hung up. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I had ever heard. The vendors did call. I forwarded every message to my mother and to Brooke. I blocked both of their numbers after that. I never spoke to them again about the wedding. The Caldwells eventually learned the truth, that there had always been 2 daughters, and one of them had been deliberately erased. The relationship between the families cooled. Brooke's marriage began under a cloud of quiet shame that no amount of money could erase. I returned to London. I kept my job. I kept my life. And for the first time in years, I stopped waiting for people who had already decided I was disposable. The hardest lesson I learned is this: your value is not measured by how much you sacrifice for people who refuse to see you. A boundary is not punishment. It is self-respect spoken out loud. Walking away from those who erase you is not cruelty. It is the bravest form of love you can give yourself. I still think of that blue dress sometimes. I think of the gift I never got to hand over. I think of the toast I never gave. But I no longer feel broken by those memories. I feel free because the day they told me I wasn't family was the same day I finally chose myself.